Welcome to the podcast. We're so excited to be here today. I was just telling Nicole, I'm in a different energy today. I'm a little bit more like, Nicole was asking me, you okay? You okay? Because usually I'm like bouncing off the walls. And today I just feel really grounded and I feel really cozy. And I can tell that winter is coming because I love this feeling. We have a good topic today. We have a really good topic today. And it was derived off of Nicole and I having this conversation about 2023 is right around the corner. And usually there's this energy around something new, right? There's an energy around like a new year, starting new, trying something new, setting new goals, new desires, all that stuff, right? And through our conversation, we realized that every time that we've started something new, we've noticed in our own lives that we get a lot further, faster, and happier when we have a coach or when we have a mentor. And so today we wanted to open up that conversation of what it looks like to have a coach and all the stuff around coaching. Both of us are coaches in different types of spaces. And so we want to talk about those different places where we coach and who we tend to coach. And so we're just going to open up the conversation with coaching. So, hey, Nicole.
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna talk about like top 10, 6, 27 reasons. I don't know.
Like a million.
What you can benefit from having a coach, right?
Okay, so I gotta ask you though, when was the first time you were coached?
Like where I hired a one-to-one?
Yeah.
Probably like a year and a half ago. It was Adele.
Okay.
She's phenomenal and I love her. And I've had multiple coaches. Actually, I mean, so I had like unofficial coaches, yourself being like my very first unofficial coach. You didn't know it at the time, but you were. Whenever I sat in your chair and I was like, yeah, I want to start a blog. And you're like, really? Well, why haven't you? And I was like, well, because of all these reasons. And you're like, let's get it done while you're sitting here. Let's make these phone calls because the second you leave, you're not going to do it. You're not going to follow through, Nicole. And she was completely right. You were completely right. And it wasn't in a bad way. I would like welcomed that help. So I think that by the time I got out of your chair within an hour, we had a quote, a concept, the photos set up, like everything was, and I was like, oh my God, this woman's amazing. So yes. So I think you were my first unofficial, like unpaid coach, but the first one that I hired was about a year and a half ago. And my business grew exponentially at the time. Like every time that I have hired a coach, not only has like my life and my accountability gotten better, but I'm reaching my goals so much freaking quicker. I mean, I think, for those of you who aren't aware, I launched an audio series earlier in the year that I had wanted to do for 2 years. Hired a coach named Anna, and within 3 weeks it was launched. It was beautiful. Every aspect of it just up and running. So, I mean, that's the kind of exponential stuff that you can get with hiring a coach. What goals do you have? So let's talk about who can benefit from coaching. My personal opinion, if you have a pulse and a goal, you're in. Like, you're the person. If you are someone who feels unfulfilled in your life, you're in. Like, you can benefit from this. Just like those two things. I feel like you got a goal, you want something different, you feel unfulfilled. That encompasses, I think, personally, a lot of people. And I think that you could just get one even if you're completely content with your life. It's still great to have a coach. And Anna, let's talk about what kind of coaching do you do?
I want to go back to like the first time I was ever coached. I was thinking about this question like earlier today because coaching has been a huge thing in my life, from like sports all the way through high school, all the way through college, like then after college and in the business world. Like, I've always had that mentor or coach type of figure. And I didn't actually realize how prevalent they were in my life until I've gotten a little bit older. And I'm like, oh yeah, no wonder I've done so much. It's not because I've done it on my own. It's because I've always had someone one step ahead of me. And I reach out to them and I say, hey, I want this thing right here. I desire this. You already got that. Like, show me the way, like, show me how this works. And I've done it from very young age all the way up. So it's almost like built into my life. For me, coaching is like second nature because I've had it so often in my life. Yeah. And I can't imagine, especially at the levels of business I'm at right now, like I can't imagine not having a mentor or a coach. I don't know where I would be if I didn't have certain people within my life. I come from the belief too that I honestly think we're built and made with everything that we need inside of us in order to have whatever desire we want, right? So that's not, I don't want there to be like this thing out there that, oh my gosh, I have to have someone else in order to actually ever achieve my dreams. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that when you have someone that's one step ahead of you and that has done or created that desire that you want, follow the pattern, like follow the path. Like, why would I have so much struggle? And I've had the struggle. Why would we create so much struggle in our life when we know that there's an easier way? And for me, I have to have it. Like, it's not even, I went through years of my life with no coach and have struggled. And by coach, I mean like even counselor for marriage, like that's a coach. Like,
Yeah.
my marriage is 10 times better now that we are on the same communication plane. My business is 10 times better now that I meet with my mentor once every 2 weeks, right? All of these things, even my parenting, I have someone that I go to for parenting questions. Like, my children are better because of my ability to ask for help. And
Yeah.
so I think for me, coaching it's like what I'm born to do. Like, it's the thing that I freaking love doing. And Nicole, I know you're in the same field too, or the same mindset too, that when you put yourself into the space of coaching and you actually do it for work, you all of a sudden take your life a lot more seriously than you ever have. And you do the work for yourself. You do the
Yeah.
healing work, you do the emotional work, you do the work, because you know that if you don't do the work, there's no way that you could ever help someone else.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Because I can tell you that when I haven't done the work and I start falling off of doing the work, it shows up. It shows up in every aspect of my life. So I love the accountability of having a coach. As a reformed people pleaser, there's still a part of me there that, like, I know when I have a coach, I don't want to waste their time. I don't want to, I don't want to say like disappoint, because I'm not disappointing them, right? Like, if I don't do the thing, I'm disappointing myself if I don't do the stuff, if I don't do the work. But I love the accountability. I love that, like, there's someone there that's like, okay, like when I feel stuck and I'm like, I don't know what else to do here. Like, what else do I need to do for this thing? Because it's just not coming. Like, I don't know, like I need a little bit of guidance in this area. And it's not even like someone saying, okay, well, now you need to do this. It's saying, okay, well, where do you think that this is, like, where do you think you're not showing up for yourself? Where do you think you're, where else could you show up differently? What else can you do? It's just like this person to have these questions with and to help you think a little bit. It's like a second set of eyes on a problem, or, trying to help you find a solution, or giving you direction from a different perspective. And it's kind of like how you said, why would I, like, it's following this pattern. There's this really great analogy about, I heard it about parents and kids. And it's kind of like, imagine that you're on a road trip with your parents, but you decided to take another car and they left a day before you. They're just ahead of you. And they call you and they're like, hey, there's a roadblock on this road. Don't go that way. You're going to want to take this other route because we already went past that. And hey, you know what? Your favorite, that favorite restaurant that has got this stuff, it's over here. You're going to want to stop by there because they've got that thing today. And you're just following their direction. You're not thinking of them as being like controlling. They're just like, they've just been on this path just before you. They know the direction. They know the roadblocks and the pitfalls, and they know where the good stuff is. And they know where the things are that you're going to enjoy. And so following that, I feel like it's still a really great analogy for coaching, not just parenting. But, there's so much with coaching that I feel like you can accomplish. And while you don't have to have a coach to accomplish it, I do feel like we are more likely to accomplish our goals in a faster amount of time, more thoroughly, with assistance of a coach than without one. That's just been my personal experience.
Yep, I agree. I think sometimes we underestimate too how much we can get done when we have someone right there with us in a short period of time. So I know from myself, personal experience, like I had this dream of creating this like digital company, right? And for those of you who don't know me or are new to my world, I did hair for 20 years. And so coaching behind the chair has just been something really fun and natural I've gotten to do with every client, and just listening. Like, people have changed my life just having that opportunity. But I remember, sitting there doing hair, blow drying y'all's hair, and I would just think to myself, like, my body's kind of wearing down a little. I've been doing this for 20 years. I have all these other skill sets in business and in life and all these other things. Like, wouldn't it be cool to create a digital like business? Like, wouldn't that be great? So for years, I thought this, right? But I didn't really ever take any type of action. And then I started to take a little action. And then all of a sudden I got super discouraged and I stopped. because I thought, who am I to do this? I need this, this, and this in order to have it done. Like all of these roadblocks came in my mind, right? And then I decided, you know what, maybe I should reach out to someone who has a digital business similar to what I have and is in the coaching space. And I did a 4-week coaching program with them. And all of a sudden, everything unlocked. My vision, my excitement, my energy. I was able to write my dream down. I was able to like benchmark it. I was able to do all of these things because I had someone on the other end that was like, hey, these are the questions you ask yourself. Like, this is kind of what it looks like. So that was like the beginning phase of creating this digital business that I'm in right now. And now that I'm in it, I have definitely had struggles for sure. I'm not saying a coach stops your struggles. I'm saying they help you kind of get through the struggle. They help you like not quit, because there's been more days than not. I posted this a couple weeks ago. There's been more days that I've wanted to quit than I've wanted to succeed. Yeah. I haven't stopped. I've kept going, but it's because I have someone in my corner that's like, that is sad, Anna, that you're going through that. Or I'm sorry, you're angry. Or like, let me teach you how to hold that. Let me teach you how to hold anger and sadness, but also to like hold, like doing something, you know, about it. And so for me, that's huge. You know what I mean? Like that's huge to know that in a short period of time, I accomplished way more than I ever thought that I ever could. And when you get that feeling and that excitement, Nicole went through this also when she created her audios, right? Like in her mind, she probably thought it was, how long did you think it was going to take you to do?
Well, I mean, I had the goal, I had the dream for 2 years and took zero action. So, I mean, I thought it was going to be a while.
Yeah, no. And so that's the story we make up in our head, is that we go on our own timeline instead of, and I tell this to people all the time, I believe in God. And so like God has this timeline for us, and like his timeline is different than our timeline. And with the coaching, it's like when someone told me, no, Anna, it's not going to take you 6 months. It's going to take you 6 weeks. I was like, no freaking way. There's no way. And then I saw the plan. I was like, oh yeah, no, I can do this. I can work my 40-hour plus week. Plus I can actually start working on this side gig thing at the same time. Like, this is totally possible. And then from there, you compound, right? Because you get this confidence in yourself when you've achieved something like that in a shorter period of time than you ever expected. And then all of a sudden it ripples and you're like, woo, I can hold more. Yep, let's go. Like, now I'm going to do my website. Now I'm going to do this. And then all of a sudden the ideas come and it's in the perfect timing. Maybe not your timeline, but the perfect timing.
Well, and having those wins, you know, where you've got this goal and you're reaching it and it's happening faster than you thought, it just completely like is this rocket trajectory to all the other things that you want to do. And the feeling that you have, like your, I don't know, your frequency, your vibe, your energy, it just feels like, oh, like I'm up here. This is so freaking awesome. You know, and I can't wait. You know, like
you pulsate at a different level.
Yeah, like frequency. It's so exciting. And you're just like, oh my God, I can take on the world. And I know that they're like one of the first coaches that I saw, that like I knew that she was a coach, and I really was unfamiliar to the term coaching, even though, you know, I had gotten all of this coaching from you. I didn't realize that's what it was at the time. You know, I was just like, oh, this lady's so awesome. But then I'm online and I was told about this coach named Melanie Ann Layer, who I love. And I just happened to find, like, I opened my eyes one day, clicked on my phone, which I typically don't do. And I looked and she's talking about like how you are the investment. And I was like, I don't know where my children were for the next hour and a half while I listened to her, but I was glued. I took like 75 pages of notes. I wanted to write down every word she said. I don't know. It was this weird thing. But as the more I listened to her through this week, she had like a week-long masterclass. By the end of that, felt like I could take on the world. I felt like if she can do it, so can I. There's nothing like, and I don't mean it to sound bad, but like, there's nothing super special that like made her so special that she could do this. Like, we have similar backgrounds. She was homeless. I was homeless. Like, oh my God, look, we've got something in common. Like, if she can do this, I could totally do this. I can do this. Am I going to be a multimillionaire next week? Probably not. I mean, it could happen with social media. All you got to do is go viral on TikTok at this point. But I'm just saying, just being in that energy of this person who is a coach, who is successful and living a life that I'm like, oh, I want that. I'm not jealous of her that she's got it. I'm just like, oh, I want that too. That is amazing. Yeah. Being in that energy, just makes it like lifts the whole thing up. And that's what a coach can do for you. That's what
Yeah.
having a coach has done for me.
It puts you in the room, Nicole. Like it puts you in the space, right? Like it puts you with the people surrounding, like the people. This is
and
another
possibilities. The
yes.
possibilities, like, oh,
I didn't have people, I didn't know anybody in the digital space. I didn't know anybody who was doing what I was doing. I didn't know any of that, right? But I knew because it was a deep dream in my heart. I just knew. I was like, nope, I'm going. This is where I'm going. I have no idea how I'm going to get there. So having a coach or people around you that are doing what you want to be doing, like it's in that energy, it's in that space. It like fuels your fire. It gets you excited, right? So if anything, if you're not investing in like a coach for actual personal investment, you're watching them. You're grabbing it here. You're getting this information from this person. Like you're in that space, right? And so
yeah,
I know Nicole and I were talking about like our ideal clients earlier, or the ideal people that we work with. And for me, I used to just people please and take on everyone. And then I realized at my own, like, no, that's can't work. And so for me, I take on the people that are ready. They're ready to go. I take on the people that may have been watching me for 6 months or 6 days, but they say yes and they're ready to go. And like we go, right? I've started to become very clear about who I want in my world and at what phase of their life that they're at, or what phase of their business or their mindset that they're at before they come to me. Cause that's what I do best. Like I know what I do best and who I work with best. And I've made mistakes and worked with people that we didn't work well together because we're on different calibers. But now I feel really confident at saying, after I initially meet someone, it's going to work or it's not going to work. And if it doesn't work with me, my friend over here is really great at what you need. You need to go see them. So I think that's been a huge learning for me too, is not only surrounding myself with the right people, but taking on the right client.
I would absolutely agree. Whenever I first started with hypnotherapy, I just took whatever clients wanted to come to me, and I took their results very personal. And I've learned that I cannot take their results very personal because I do what I do and I'm great at what I do. I am great at the hypnotherapy, at the coaching. And did I just say hypnotherapying?
Yeah, it's a word.
Whatever, it's what we're making.
Why
it
not?
work.
We're making
And
it
the
work.
coaching. But what I have found is that I don't want to work with just everybody. I mean, I do. I feel like it can help everybody. Let me just say that. I feel like what I do can help every person in any area that they really want to be better or more fulfilled. But I also know that when I have clients that don't meet the goals that they want, that's not on me. That is on their responsibility as the client, and really looking at who do I want to work with? I know this might sound bad, but like, I don't want to work with a person who's like, well, prove it to me. I'm not going to take that client on. It's an absolutely hard pass for me. I am not in the business of proving that this stuff works, that hypnotherapy and coaching works. I'm not in the business of proving that. I know that it works, and you can either trust the process and invest in yourself, and I can help you reach some goals, but you're the one doing the work. Like I get you in hypnosis. I ask you the questions. You're the one coming up with the answers. You're the one that's going through that process, whether it's subconsciously or in your outer awake life on the coaching portion of our call. So I just feel like the people who I have seen have the most success with my programs, and myself as a client, it was when I was so freaking sick of where I was. I was so over myself. I couldn't stand to be around myself. And I just was really unhappy and very negative in my speech, and just, it was like one of those people, you're like, Jesus, you're like an energy vampire. Like, get out of here. That's how I was. And I was so ready for a change that I was willing to take any positive I could get from it. Like, I'll take anything, whatever you got, girl. It's like, you got any more of that? Like, can I get any more of those positive changes, please? I'll take whatever you got. So I feel like those are the clients that I work best with, are the ones who are really willing to do the work and asking the harder questions of, what's kept me from reaching my goal so far? Why is it that I can't commit to myself when I say I'm going to do something? What is that block? If I say I'm going to do it and I'm not doing it, why? And that's what coaching has helped me with. That's what I help my clients with. And let me just say that, like, while you and I are both, Anna and I are sitting here talking about this from the business person perspective as the coach of, working with people, you don't have to be a business person to want this. This is for like the freaking soccer mom who's so sick of like not having her voice and not doing the thing that she loves and not having the good boundaries and not like all of the things, and wants to change that. Like this can build your confidence. It can help you have a heightened sense of awareness. Coaching can help you to achieve your goals so much faster. Having a balanced life, adding creativity in, finding that creativity. If you feel like you have lost your purpose or you don't have one, or you haven't figured out what that is yet, this can help you with that. And I know it helped me. I kind of go back to this version of myself that I was. And I tell you what, like this changed my life. Having a coach, having a hypnotherapist, I know that they're not the same thing, but they kind of in some ways are. Those things changed my life, completely changed the trajectory of the path I was on. I was on a path to be a lifelong nurse, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not what I wanted to do. And now I have the decision on whether or not I want to pick up a shift. I have the decision on how much of that time I want to put in at work. So, I mean, I just feel like you kind of get to design your life how you want it when you have a coach, and they get to ask the questions. They know the questions to ask that you're not asking yourself. And when you've got to be accountable to someone other than yourself when you haven't been, that's the game changer.
Totally agree. It's almost like it's an evolution for me. So I've noticed that when I take on people that are in the business realm and they have this desire of what they want, but yet they don't realize that there's like a whole human other aspect of like mindset. They're living very much in the like, I need to achieve this. I need this done with I need this amount of money. I want that, like the list, right?
The super masculine.
Yeah, totally.
Their masculine energy.
And I can relate to that because I was always, I was that person hardcore for like 39 years. It wasn't until most recently that I was like, man, maybe there's another way to do this, right? But I think when we live in that space of go, 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 go all the time, we forget that there's a whole like nether piece behind it. And I talk with my clients about this. Although I can go hard. I can get you where you want to go. I mean, honestly, the technical part of it, totally cool. But that doesn't stay the longevity of that. We can achieve anything in 3 to 4 weeks, 2 weeks, a lot, like very short period of time. We can get a lot of shit done.
Oh yeah.
But if you don't have the like foundation of your mindset, your boundaries, your routine, all of that, like a little bit of a handle on that, it's not going to last. Yes, you'll launch this beautiful product. Yes, you'll do these beautiful things. Like you'll have this thing packaged up and it'll look gorgeous and wonderful. And then it won't, because then you'll be like at this space of like, okay, now what do I do? So attacked. I think for me, what'd you say?
I said, I feel attacked.
No, oh my God, I wasn't even talking to you. Stop it right now.
No, I'm resonating with this though. Seriously. Yes, go on.
So no, and I know this from my own journey because I've produced my entire life. I can produce stuff, guys, heck of fast, but then it never lasted. And then I moved on to the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. Always searching, always trying to find that thing that was going to give me life and purpose and happiness. It's never the freaking thing or the accomplishment. It's here. It's in your heart. It's the mindset work. It's the work that feels the hardest to do. For me, for years, I avoided all that stuff, the feminine, fluffy stuff, because that's harder for me than it is to like produce something. And so the last 18 months, I've spent a lot of time on the other side, on like the soft, cozy sweater side, on the blankets, on the candles, on the flowers, on the like spending time in meditation, on the pausing, on the, you know, the just sitting and taking a bath on a Tuesday morning because I can't, like, you know what I mean? So I've spent a lot of time in that space. And what I know about that space is when you mix it with the other space, the hardcore masculine space, you get this balance that you didn't even think was possible. And so why I bring this up is because coaching to me and my own business has 2 different aspects now. It used to just have one. Now it has this aspect of like, let's get your mindset under control. Let's set some goals. Let's figure out your dreams. I can totally walk you through that. Great. But then let's pause for a minute and let's talk about like the whole other aspect of like the feminine part of your energy. Let's talk about, you know, the stuff that we don't want to talk about. Let's talk about why you're not doing that. And let's talk about what's blocking you. Let's go there first, because if I don't know that, then there's no way that I can help you create longevity in the other stuff. So usually with my coaching, I'll do a good portion of time on that stuff. And then we work on the other stuff, because the other stuff takes 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I mean, we can have that stuff counted quick.
Yeah.
But sometimes it requires 4 to 6 weeks prior to the actual accomplishment to get your mind right. And so the biggest shift in my own business has been incorporating both masculine and feminine energies in my business. So I've been reading this book and a few different, now I'm on like book 5, but it started with this one book. I think it was called The Feminine Wild. And so I messaged Nicole and Marco and I'm like, Nicole, oh my God, do you know what I'm doing right now? Do you know we have a pelvic bowl? Do you know that? And like all of these terms that she's probably like, holy guacamole. And that's too much information. I don't want to hear about your ovaries right now. Like
It's completely fine.
yeah, which is fine. But what it does is it's opened up my mind as a female and how I do business, right? And so by diving into this, like we are going to have this conversation about masculine and feminine energy. By diving deeper into this, I have had a greater understanding, not only for myself, but for my clients, because I see when they're on the other end and like I'm taking the notes on them and they're like hardcore like this. I'm like, oh, she's stuck in masculine. So now I got to get her to feminine in order for me to actually for her to see exactly what we're going to do together. So it's helped guide me. And it's also helped, and clients don't usually know. I didn't know that I was stuck in one or the other. So how would someone else know? So that's been a huge shift in my business, is embracing how we were made.
Yes, I definitely want us to have that conversation.
It's a long one.
I'm all, yeah, it's like we can't just do it in just one little.
No, we can't do it.
Little
it's not
snippet halfway through a podcast. So, but no, that's amazing information, and I love that it's going to start off a conversation that we're going to have next week, because it's a great one to have.
It is. Let's share a little bit about like the coaching type of experience that you create.
Okay, so
and like how you use hypnotherapy and coaching together.
I kind of interview my clients ahead of time. Like we have a consultation call to see what it is that they want to work on, see if that's going to be a good fit. And I've incorporated some newer things. There is, oh gosh. Okay. So I have a questionnaire that they fill out, and this has to do with hypnotherapy, and it kind of tells the suggestibility of us. Some people are inferred and some people are direct. So in wanting them to have the best experience possible, they fill this out, they let me know, and then all of the hypnotherapy is geared towards the way that their mind picks up information. So let's say that I have somebody that wants to address their self-confidence or show up for themselves better or whatever. We have a conversation. The hypnotherapy portion is to address the mindset. It is to go in and address the blocks to you showing up for yourself in the way. It's in building the self-discipline. It's in building your daily routine. So that's the hypnotherapy part. It's helping you to see the goal on a subconscious level and see how you're going to feel when that happens. Like, what is that going to feel like in your body? And then being able to, in the coaching portion, address what are the goals, what are the strategy in achieving them, what's keeping you from it on a conscious, like what are the actual blocks that you see versus the subconscious blocks that you're seeing? How is that coming up for you? I loosely base mine off of like the wheel of life, which is, your finances, your happiness with your health, relationships, the fun that you're having, your friendships, your personal development. So it's like loosely based off of this idea. And there are two kind of things that I do with it. One is how well do you feel like you're doing in these areas? The other is how much energy do you actually feel like you're putting in? Sometimes those numbers are very different. And it was through this that I had a client figure out that here they were putting, oh, I'm at an 8, all of these areas are like 6 to 8, I'm doing really pretty good. And then I said, okay, and how are you doing with yourself? Like, how are you doing with you? And they were like, I'm like a 2. And then they realized, holy shit, I am showing up in all of these other areas as a 2. And I'm thinking that I'm getting like a 6 and an 8. What if I showed up as a 10 for me? Like if I show up as a 10 for me, then I'm showing up in all of these, in my parenting, in my relationship, in my career, in my personal development. Like if I'm showing up as a 10 for me, imagine how much better everything across the board will be. If I'm only showing up as a 2 and I think I'm going to have this great relationship, let's think again. Like, let's be a little realistic. You know what I mean? But they got it. I didn't have to say it. They came to this conclusion on their own, and there was no judgment from me. I have my clients kind of loosely, we do a couple of questionnaires throughout the time that we work together to check in and see where we're at. Where's the growth? Where do we need to work on? And, they can come to me and say, I really want to work on my self-confidence. And come to find out, it's something completely different that they're really unhappy with. And it's really the fact that their health is declining. Okay, so let's work on the health. And it's a conversation. It's not me directing. It's us having a conversation together about what is it that you want and how do I think that I can help you get the results you want as deeply rooted
Mhm.
and as quick as possible, but deeply rooted is really the goal. So each session has coaching and hypnotherapy in it, which I love. I love that we get to work on things. Okay, so they kind of get this talking out and all this stuff coming in. They kind of get it all up and figure out what it is that they want, what direction do we want, what kind of growth do we want to see next week, where are we at from last week? And mine are weekly. My coaching is weekly. It's, if you're my Monday at 6, you're my Monday at 6 for our program. And all of my clients get access to all of the audios that I have published, which is really great because they can use them in between. There is homework in between, which, before we end this, we're gonna have to talk about client responsibility. And what do your clients get?
With me, I do something very similar. I do like an interview process to see if you would be like a good fit for me for the work that I do or what I'm the most passionate about. So we do that first, and then after it's a good fit, then we get started and we talk about what the timeline's going to look like for the time that we're together, what we want to achieve together. And then my sessions also are usually once a week, maybe once every other week, depending on the project that we're working on. And it's a very set time. I hold pretty hard boundaries on it, and then we get to work, and then we do our stuff, right? And then after, I always check in. I always do like after calls, just say, hey, what's going on? How are we doing? I do a lot of check-in stuff with past clients. I tend to work with people who are moms, who are females, who are entrepreneurs or wannabe women who value family. They value having a strong relationship that's loving. Maybe they're married, maybe they're not, but desire to be a woman who wants to stand out, but maybe she doesn't necessarily know quite how, but knows and has that desire to stand out. And that she's curious and she wants to be activated and she's self-assured. And by self-assured, I mean, like, she's the person that I don't want to work with someone that I constantly have to hold their hand. Like, that's not I did that for years. That's just not my happiest place. My happiest place is to work with someone who is like, I know where I want to go. I just don't know the correct steps to get there. And maybe we work on emotional stuff together as we get there, but I don't want to be holding hands. That's just it's not my strength. Right. And for years I did it and it felt really painful. So I've definitely held a strong boundary for that. I think I mentioned before, I help on mindset and accountability and creating a plan and dreams and all that stuff. There's that part of it. But then the other part that I absolutely love is the actual digital part. Physical stuff is like websites and lead magnets, email lists, sales pages, checkout pages, automated emails, memberships, all that stuff. Like, that stuff gets me really excited, like designing and creating it. So there's a kind of a two-part to what my strengths are and who, like, I love working with. So that's me. And then I do all different types of other stuff on social media. I do classes, workshops, master classes. I have some private groups. I have groups for just entrepreneurs, free groups, like all different types of stuff related to those aspects, mindset, and also creating your business digitally. So that's kind of like, that's my thing.
I love that. I think I forgot to say that I also do the archetype work, which I don't know why I forgot about it, because I literally, like,
we were just talking about it.
Yeah. We're literally just type, yes. So I also address feminine archetypes, and in hypnosis, having you meet your feminine archetypes that you feel like haven't been showing up or you've stifled, that you get to now kind of let out and let them be in their full power. So that's super fun. It's a really fun hypnotherapy to watch people go through. So yeah, it's a good time. And I love that my clients' results are their results. I may be a facilitator of imagery and asking the questions and coaching, but their results are their results. Your wins are your wins. And it is so amazing to get to watch it in real time, to see where they come from the time that they call you and they're like, okay, I need like help with this. And then to like see their entire self just evolve over the course of time that you get to work with them, to be meeting their goals and increasing their confidence. I feel like that kind of just is like this staple in coaching that you see is like an increase of confidence, an increase in I don't want to say self-worth, but like self-appreciation, which I love to see, especially with women. I've had male clients and they've been amazing, but I really love seeing women come into their full power and be the best version of them that they desire to be, and being able to watch that transformation happen is like, I don't know, it's a blessing.
So 2 things, you guys, before we close this out. One, when this releases, is we're going to go live and we're going to talk about some client responsibilities of coaching on our Instagram account. If you haven't joined the page yet, you totally need to, because there's tons of information on there. There's tons of stuff about the podcast that we've already released, and there's some fun interaction within the community that's starting to rise up. So we're going to talk about that live. I really want to talk about that, Nicole, of like what the responsibility is as a client who is being coached, because I think that's a conversation in itself. So we'll open that up. Our Instagram is come sit with us _podcast on Instagram. So go follow us. And then as we leave today, I just want to encourage you, for those of you setting goals and new desires for 2023, just keep in mind, like, you can do anything you put your mind to. You can do anything that you put your heart to. It's all inside of you. But just know that the timeline of you and the timeline of what you think is really achievable and actually what is achievable is totally different. And that's where a coach comes into play. A coach comes into play where they're going to show you the step, the path, the way to get there at a quicker pace and a more enjoyable pace. So,
all right. This was a lovely conversation, one that is near and dear to my heart. And I'm so glad that you guys came and listened today and showed up for us and for yourselves, especially in hearing this conversation. If you have any questions, reach out to us.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. See you guys on the next one.
Bye, you guys.